Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us these next 15 minutes to dive deep into the Vault resource for those of you that aren't aware, or perhaps for those that just wanted a quick refresher. Now, my name is Frank Ciano. I am the Associate Director of University Relationships here at Vault. And join with me at this virtual conference during these next 3 days is one of our new hires, Chris Sotomayor. We encourage everyone to stop by our booth to learn more about updates or just to get a better sense of some of the new features we've added over these past couple of months. But during these next 10 to 15 minutes, we just wanted to give everyone a crash course on Vault in case, again, you were unaware. So we're going to first start with going deep into the history of Vault. Now, I know most of us, as Vault's been a member of the conference for over a decade now, you probably know Vault in some way, shape, or form, but for myself, as when I was a job seeker many moons ago, I remember using Vault printed guidebooks. Now, we came a long way from the early 1990s when we were exclusively a publishing company, and really over the past 10, 15 years, all of our trusted content has now just been able to be accessed through all these school portals that we work with, whether you're integrating them within your career website, perhaps other career management portals. But luckily, even though there's been so much changes to Vault and even leadership over the years, the one thing that has remained the same is how we gather all the content on our site. Now, Vault technically, as I tell my friends and family members when they ask me, what do I do for a living or where do I work? I tell them that I work for a company that collects career information via surveys. I don't really talk about how we are one of the most used resources for career exploration and company research because I like to identify, again, our survey process. So what we can see on this screen here is how Vault over these years has continued to develop the content on our site via our proprietary survey. We send out surveys to professionals and over the past 5 years as well, interns within the field. And then we ask them a variety of questions. Questions not just on, did the organization offer you a full-time job or do they pay well, right? Questions about culture fit, diversity hiring, transparency with managers, other factors that we're seeing more and more candidates are choosing today as they are looking for their ultimate career and less a job. Now, through all these surveys that we've done year after year, we've been able to expand into other verticals. I think most of us know Vault from when we started really focusing on just the industries of banking and law. But now we really branch into areas like consulting. Not only does the content that we've gathered throughout these proprietary surveys have allowed us to expand with other industries, but from the content, we've also developed ways to help students become career ready, whether that's distant students all across the globe, or perhaps it's just helping them prepare for upcoming interviews like a case interview. All that content has helped us build out such a tremendous source within Vault. And now we're just actually going to dive deep into the platform at hand and look at some of the core sections outside of these award-winning guidebooks. Now, bear with me. I'm going to quickly jump over here from the PowerPoint that we put together for you all and take us into the trial account for a branded Vault portal. Now, most of the institutions, of course, that are attending this virtual conference do have your own portal as you've been subscribers for many years. So you would see when you go to your portal, access provided by text within the upper right-hand corner as compared to the trial account that we see here. But no matter what portal that you're coming in, everyone has access to all the core sections. Now, we could spend hours upon hours diving deep into the platform. We're really going to be short today, and we're going to talk about some of the 3 key areas, in our opinion, that users should be turning to. That being our core collection of guidebooks, that being our profiles for both internships and companies, and then, of course, our rankings. Now, before we go and look at our guidebooks, I do like to address what's in front of us, and that being that integrated search bar. Now, even though how we see most of our traffic through Google Analytics is students and job seekers going to the sections in the header that are very self-explanatory, those rankings, those research companies, internships, etc., the search box is what we like to call either an all else fails option in case you are struggling to find information, or maybe for someone that has that guided approach. They're coming to Vault because they are doing research on companies maybe that they already know. Maybe they're looking for internships or general career advice. So let's just do one quick search here. We're going to do a search for the organization KPMG, just to highlight some of Vault's new search functionalities that we brought in. What we're trying to do is get users directly to the content, not having them click around a couple of times, not find anything, and then get lost. So the quick example I did here for that organization shows us that we have filter options in case we wanted to look for the company, internships, rankings, or any articles that might have been posted. But something that is also unique to Vault is that we don't have just sometimes one profile for an organization. As we have so many surveys, we break them down not only by the divisions, whether it's consulting, most of the divisions are broken down more so by the territory, as we see here, the surveys that we got from employers within the European consulting practice or the Asia Pacific. So always dive deep, whether you're doing a search or clicking through some of the areas I'm going to go to, because there's so many layers of content within Vault that you have to go ahead and search. Now back to the home page, we're going to go first and look at our trusted collection of guidebooks, some of those images that we saw on the previous slide there. The reason why we still have guidebooks, even though Vault no longer prints, is because guides are still the easiest way to show value to an end user. Instead of them having to go through all these other categories, we take everything that you see within that header there and consolidate into one easy to read digital title. Now, every school portal is different. So as we do come to the main landing page for career guides, we see here most popular. These most popular, as we see within our trial account, are just based off what the team here at Vault has been clicking around and highlighting during these demos. But most of the time, the most popular is based off what your user's portal is going to. And we do so because we feel like it's a great way to let them show that maybe they are looking at this new guide to international MBA job search or a preparation on finance interviews. But lo and behold, if one of these 6 titles doesn't call to the user, there's over 240 guidebooks at the moment, all broken down whether by industry, advice titles such as interview prep, resume creation, and even further education. Now let's go take a look at 2 types of titles. I'm going to first go into the category here. Let's choose consulting. We see here we have titles that talk about employers all across the globe. We have titles that talk about either the jobs that are tagged to the industry or the industry altogether, and of course that prep work. But maybe I click around here and I go into investment management, and I want to see the difference between mutual funds and investment banking. Well, the beauty of Vault is now all these guidebooks are digital and embedded within the site, no longer needing a user to download to view it. So if I come here and I want to look at careers in mutual funds, our second edition, I'll click the View Now button, wait for the page to load, and what is loading is our new ADA compliant embedded reader. Now the embedded reader, as it's loading, it's a table of contents, and I apologize for my poor internet speed here. I don't think my wife and I expected both of us to be working off our limited internet package these past couple of months. But after the page briefly loads, what again loaded is that table of contents. Now the table of contents have so much content within, but sometimes it's overlooked. As I scroll up and down, we see chapters like the basics, the state of the industry, making connections, looking ahead. Well, the beauty is all these down arrows, if we click, opens up to subchapters. So when we talk about the basics, we need our job candidates to understand the overview, uppers and downers, primary products. Maybe if we go about knowing the field and we click, that's about learning how to job search, researching companies, and so on and so forth. Now let's just take a look at one of these chapters, and I always tend to show the researching companies because we're not just plugging back to our own proprietary survey content. Now, even though we will get there based on the research company portal, note that we're always going to talk about third-party tools. You also see that maybe some of the things that are being referenced here are also tools that your office is already embedding. We do so because we don't like to hog the spotlight, even though we do have most of this content on our platform, and to let users know that there's so many sources that they could turn to, career services and other portals as well. Okay, we're going to leave this guidebook because all the guidebooks have the same look and feel. Those sub-chapters within, numerous pages, and always reach out to Vault if you want to learn a little bit more technology features in order to promote these better, such as still giving the ability to download or some direct linking that we call our record URL. Okay, we have a couple more minutes left, and I think it's best to finish up with highlighting where we get most of our traffic, and that's after a user prepares and does the career discovery on what these industries and professions are offering, and now they want to go ahead and do research on companies and internships. So we're going to focus on doing the research for a full-time position within working at a company. Now, when I do highlight over the research company section, we see a call to some of Vault's most popular industries, law and investment banking, as I said earlier, but of course the breaking into consulting, accounting, tech. You could always click Browse More Companies in case you wanted to get a bigger search result. And when you do so, it'll give you the ability to type in an organization by name, to start maybe with a filter, such as the industry, and then fine-tuning it based off location, other areas of interest. We'll always show top searches. Again, if you have your own portal of Vault, these top searches will be what your students are looking at. And then we see the reference to Vault rankings. So let's get us into a profile, but I always like doing so by looking at one of our trusted rankings. And I'll click the widget here for View All Rankings. Now, something that always pops up, as you see here, is to sign up for a newsletter. We encourage everyone to do so as well, so you could get timely articles, whether about career readiness, new updates to Vault, but I'm going to minimize that for the time being. Now, our rankings, even though you have the ability to look at all of them, they have sub-rankings within. So let's use the example of consulting here. When I click on the ability to look at our consulting rankings, we're going to first see Vault's top 50 consulting firms, and these are organizations listed all across the globe. Well, we understand that some of our job seekers are either looking for getting the most prestigious firm on their resume so they could then hopefully vault to another opportunity. Others are identifying that they don't want to work at one of these larger companies where they're unrecognized. They maybe want to get a better culture fit, and they're identifying that maybe a boutique firm could do that. Certain practice areas within industries like consulting, for example, accounting, law, they have different areas here. So the organizations that are listed when we look at public sector consulting are going to be much different when we look at financial consulting. And then some of our most popular are things what we call the best to work for, or internally, as we discuss, quality of life factors. Things like benefits, work-life balance, overall business prospects. Again, all this content and the rankings are based off our survey. But it doesn't stop there. We also have these rankings broken down within territories like Europe, as well as Asia Pac, as we referenced. Okay, we're going to get us into one of our rankings. And if you've probably noticed by now, everything that is in blue redirects you to a corresponding page. So I'm going to click Best Consulting Firms to Work for Diversity. And upon doing so, we're taken to our standard ranking page. Now, the ranking pages will always show you a survey history to highlight some of the new factors that we've been adding over the years, and then the in-depth survey methodology, just to reiterate to the user who might not understand our survey process, how we came and obtained these scores. Now, bear with me. I'm going to click around from factor to factor, as we see most of our candidates do. Whether it is diversity, firm culture, and any other topic, when we click, we see that these organizations change. Some that we might know, others that we might not. And the whole point here is to get a user to scroll up and down and click on profiles if they think they know or they don't know, and learn directly from the source. Now, every profile in Vault, as we are here on a company profile, will show any relatable information, in this scenario, a redirect to their internship program profile for you to go ahead and learn all about what current interns have been saying about similar factors. But all company profiles will contain an overview, which will give you information about the location, number of employees, what the organization is currently doing, and again, along with their COVID-19 the focus. But the survey says is probably the most popular segment within Vault, because this is where they're going to be able to see direct quotes from all the employees who recently took part. And what we normally focus on are things like the culture fit, quality of life, career development, which is new and students appreciate, compensation, even though it's becoming less of the factor that people use when deciding if they should accept an opportunity. We all know in the back of our heads we want to know what potential earnings are. And then some of our personal favorites are things like the outlook, especially for some of these smaller boutique companies where an individual might not be able to connect with an alumni and learn about. The hiring process to help you know what might be asked in the sense of interview questions, or if there's going to be panel discussions, etc. Those are some of the key areas within our platform, our guidebooks, our rankings, our profiles. But I think what also sets Vault apart outside of the content within our site is in fact what we are able to offer our clients and anyone that is interested in signing up. And that's our trusted subscription support. And not only are we here to work with you to make sure the entire staff is ready to understand value proposition and how to promote Vault, we have been doing a lot of webinars for students as well on either career topics or just basically A to Z using Vault more in depth. And then in order to show everyone that we continue to get great traffic, we provide analytics on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis, not only to see the amount of logins and page views, but more importantly to show what profiles, what guidebooks, and other core content your students are searching to give you a better sense of maybe what we need to do to promote to certain other populations within the school. Now that's a quick little rundown of Vault, and again, we are encouraging everyone to stop by our booth for more questions and to set up any demos afterwards, but let's just quickly summarize our value proposition. We're trying to not only help a user understand what the current job market is promoting, but of course alleviate the stress of staff who are trying to give more information out to their students so they could be more competitive in today's global job market. We're hopeful that more and more of our business schools continue to sign up within Vault, and of course, all those that continue to have been long-standing clients to adapt and continue to add more of this content within as we plan for virtual learning moving forward. I encourage everyone as well to jump in and dive deep and reach out to either myself or our new colleague, Chris, and we look forward to seeing you at our booth in the next couple of days. Take care, everyone, and enjoy all the sessions.